Welcome to Show Me Tech, the show where we bring you the latest in technology directly from those who lead the charge to make things just a little bit better. My name is Philipp Leutiger.
And my name is Jonathan Eisenring.
Today, we're diving into a topic that many of us associate with the term smart home. As our devices get smarter, are we keeping up? And what about industrial IoT applications? Jonathan, you're the only friend that I have that actually uses an app-controlled coffee mug. Does it really improve your life?
No, but it makes me feel special. So from my app-controlled coffee mug to street lights and cement plants, most of the industrial and consumer devices are getting more intelligent. IoT is the concept of connecting any device to the internet and to each other. This includes everything from coffee makers to washing machines, from production lines to heavy industry. IoT is thereby a giant network of connected things, which also includes people. But why on earth would you want so many devices to all be connected? Let me show you a few examples to explain. The industrial giant Caterpillar developed a connected sleep monitor device that analyzes the various fatigue level and predicts when it will become a safety risk. In this way, it helps managers to schedule workers more efficiently, increase safety, and also increase performance. Another example is PathGen, that produces smart flooring systems that generates off-grid electricity when people step on the tiles. Additionally, they also provide a comprehensive analysis of movement patterns. Smart City is another powerful application. Smart surveillance, automated transportation, smart energy management, water distribution, waste disposal, or urban security can be enhanced by installing sensors and developing applications based on data. Manufacturers are adding sensors to the components of their products to transmit back data about how they are performing. With this, there are several use cases coming along, such as predictive maintenance, reduction of energy costs, preventing unplanned downtime, or increasing production quality and output. IoT, therefore, not only offers us more efficiency and creates a better user experience, but also has the potential to develop completely new business models. Despite this, security, privacy, and data sharing is a big issue. With billions of devices connected, how can you ensure that the information stays secure? And besides all the fancy applications of the Internet of Things, there are situations where the analog way may still be better.
Welcome to today's chat. Today here with me we have Barbara Frei, Executive Director at Schneider Electric, and Philipp Leutiger, Chief Digital Officer of LafargeHolcim. Thank you very much for joining us here today. It's an especial pleasure because you were with us at the Digital Festival last year, and you are going to be with us at Digital Festival 2019. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we'd like to start the chat with something that we call the choice. On the back there, you will see two images and one question, and I want you to choose one and give me a brief explanation as to why you chose what you did. So let's get started here. Barbara, which one do you choose?
I'll choose the Alexa. I have one at home. I use it daily to put the timer for cooking, to ask what will the weather be like, what is the traffic on the highway, or please put on the radio. So it's very convenient for me to use it.
Reminder to bring an umbrella.
Correct. Reminder to bring an umbrella.
I have to say, I'm still on the light switch. So I have an Alexa at home, but my wife actually turns the mic off all the time. And the light switch, super convenient, super fast and easy to use. Kind of fulfills its purpose anyway, right? So why do something
Plus,
tricky?
it works when the mic's off.
It always works, exactly.
Let's go on to the next one. All right, here, the choice. Which one do you prefer? Do you prefer the action of skydiving, or do you prefer the smooth sailing?
So I prefer the skydiving. I did it once with parachuting, and it's much simpler than sailing. Sailing, you have to think about a lot. There is a lot of technique, and you need to know about the direction. Whereas it's more straightforward in the skydiving, parajumping. I would prefer it.
I guess it always goes down,
Correct.
no matter what happens. Philipp, what about you?
Well, I have to say, my job's exciting enough, so I'll go for the sailboat. I'll get someone to organize the technique for me. But, if I think about it, maybe at a nice lake here in Switzerland, sail around. Sounds fantastic to me. I don't need the skydive for my private life.
Perfect. We have the safety, right? You can swim to shore.
There you go.
And for our final choice, we have the following. Who inspires you the most? If you had to choose between Einstein or Stephen Hawking, both impressive gentlemen in their own fields, but who would you choose?
I'll go for Albert Einstein. I think it's amazing how he put everything down to the simplicity of like a single formula, and all the thinking is done about that. And next to what I like about him is, he wasn't actually that smart at school, right? So I like the idea that, you can really fulfill your potential no matter what grades you have, right?
It's true. It's true. Even if you don't have an A+ or 6 years in Switzerland, you can still make it in that sense. What about you?
I would rather take Stephen Hawking because he had it much more difficult to get where he is than today. Or for Albert Einstein, I think things weren't very easy. He also had a very intelligent wife who supported him quite a lot. And Stephen Hawking didn't get so easy there. That's why I would rather put it on him.
Makes sense. I mean, he had a very challenging path to take, but both very impressive in that sense.
Absolutely.
So speaking of inspiration, I'd like to jump in with a question about yourselves. So I want to start off with something that's related to Einstein and his grades, but what was your favorite subject in school?
It was clearly related to mathematics and energy efficiency.
Energy efficiency?
Yeah, I was born into the oil crisis, so to say. So when I was 9 years old, the oil price was sky high at that time, $39 per barrel. And we learned in school how you can save energy in your daily life, and I was extremely fascinated by it. Also where energy comes from, how it's produced. It was really one of my favorite topics.
Ah, cool. And what about you?
It's not really a grade, but I actually had the opportunity to spend 2 years of school in Africa. And we were like a really small group of people. And maybe we didn't really have subjects as that, specialized as you have in a European school. But it was amazing what it taught you about diversity. We had obviously, people coming from Africa, people from all different kinds of walks of life, Lebanese, Europeans, Americans, Asian people coming together. It was just a thrilling experience and taught you a lot about diversity and creativity in diverse groups.
And that was international school, or what was that?
That was an international school.
And the grades, much like Einstein?
The grades, a little bit like Einstein, but, the teachers were kind, so I was okay.
That's good. That's good. So what have been the most important and meaningful steps in your professional life so far? If you had to kind of summarize, I'm sure there's a lot of steps in there, but where would you start? Like, what would you say was that moment for you that comes to mind?
It was a very unpleasant moment in that sense. I was working in a factory as an R&D engineer, and I was in the management team of this factory, and then they announced to us they're going to close down the whole site.
Oh, wow.
So 300 people without job. And we had to keep up the business for another 6 months. This was quite an experience. So what does it mean that your job is not available anymore the next day, and how do you orient yourself, what you're doing with your people, was quite an experience.
Mm-hmm. Must have helped you grow as well as a person to take away from that.
Absolutely. You're also getting into denial. I learned, in September we learned the factory will be closed down, but it was only the management. And then during 2 months, I was convinced they are going to reverse this decision. It was at the moment where it was announced to all the employees, it's reality now. So this denial for change was quite an experience.
Mm-hmm. I can imagine. And for you, Philip?
When I was still at university, I actually had the opportunity to go to work for a startup tech company in the Silicon Valley. And this was like not how it's today. It was really like 99, 2000s, the heyday days of the dot-com bubble. And before it burst.
Well, actually, still blowing up, right?
It was really already strained, I have to tell you, right? So it was really the last months of the party, I would say. But what I saw there and how people thought about this and were inspired about change, it's really something, that I've taken with me in my heart. And despite the fact that it was all over when I finally finished my graduate degree and I had to go work in traditional industry, I think that train of thought still kept me running for a while. And I'm excited to see how far we've come since then, from pet food online delivery to all the stuff we have today. It's quite amazing.
Yeah. In that same context, the question that I always love to ask somebody is like, what are you passionate about? And this could be anything. It could be surfing, could be something you're working on. Like, what is that for you? Like, what are you passionate about if you had to choose today? Like, what would you go do right now if you could do anything? Surfing, vacation, building something, working?
Cooking. I like very much cooking. And I like very much, the process of going on your iPad and then surf through it. You have a certain idea. I want to cook this or that. Then you choose from different, let's say, recipes which are there available. And then you think about, I'm going to do the grocery, when I'm going to cook it. So I like the whole process until you can serve it to your friends or families.
Perfect. We'll have you on a cook-off sometime.
Yeah,
we'll have you on a cook-off sometime. Are you guys in?
Yeah, I'll come as well.
Really.
And what about you? I hope it's baking, because we still need something to make dessert.
I was thinking about something completely different. my passion really runs about the change that's happening in the world, also the change that's happening in places like Africa, as I said, where I was as a kid, in Latin America, and how, what you can actually see happening there, how people reinvent their society, reinvent the way how they're thinking about things with, new technologies coming in and allowing these people to find completely different solutions than the solution that we have here in Europe or North America. And that's just fascinating to see, and it's highly inspirational.
Mm-hmm. I want to shift gears here for a moment to talk a little bit about IoT, right? Mm-hmm. IoT, obviously a term that is broadly used in almost anything from coffee cups to just about anything that's connected to the internet these days. But what is IoT in the context of your company and what you guys do work-wise? Like, what would you define IoT as for you?
So what we try to explain it to our customers, usually when we start to talk about digitization, and many customers nowadays, of course, want to talk about it, it all starts with a product that is connected. So without the connected product, IoT is in principle impossible. And then you have a layer where you control. We call it usually edge control, which could be a PLC or a SCADA system within a certain building or factory. And then you have the third layer where you have all the application and layers, which is usually in the cloud. So for us, that's, so to say, the IoT world where we are maneuvering. And usually we say it's also where IT and OT comes together.
And what is OT in this case?
OT is in principle really the people who have done all the machine building and all the sensors and so on. And then cybersecurity becomes a very interesting topic because they come from different backgrounds and they need to learn from each other. And that's sometimes not so easy.
So it's the marriage of both hardware and software in that
regard.
Correct.
I'm an automation engineer and I'm an information specialist. And these two guys need to learn to talk together. And that's not so easy.
I can imagine. Do you also experience that in the same way?
Well, we're trying to listen very closely when you're trying to explain it.
Correct.
And draw the right conclusions out of it. But it's not absolutely correct. I mean, we run huge plants all over the world, actually 2,500. And they've been connected in some way through these automation systems for a very long time, batching systems, sensors, and all of that. As a major manufacturer, we've always been very interested in trying to understand what technology can do for us. But we've never, really taken that step of creativity of, trying to understand when you talk about the cloud, I mean, what does that really mean, right? How, what advanced applications are possible for us? It's really like when we had these old, feature phones, yes, we had voice calls and SMSs and maybe MMSs and so on. And that's what, that's the OT world. And now we move from there to the current phones, right? With their app stores, with their myriad applications, the data-driven technology, the speed at which innovation is happening. And we would love our plants to be that flexible, to be that, exciting, to be that data-driven, like your Uber app or, your recipe, right? Maybe there's a great inspiration of how we make our products.
Absolutely, absolutely.
In what fields has that found like a concrete example? Do you have one in mind that maybe you guys are working on in a plant? Like, what is something that you would say, this is an area we would love to address in the context of the more data-driven IoT world?
I mean, we have very heavy machinery. You guys can go check it out on YouTube and Google a cement plant. You'll see how this looks. And in many places, it's actually very hard for us to understand what the current state of the machine is. For example, we have seals, which kind of, make sure that there are no dust emissions during our production. But, where the seal is, it's actually super hot, sometimes 1,500 degrees Celsius. There's also a lot of movement going on, right? So I can't just send someone in. Even the sensor actually doesn't survive the heat, it just breaks, right? And now we actually have a lot of ancillary decisions. We see the power consumption, we see how, the physical setup is vibrating. And we're trying to draw conclusions out of that and ask ourselves, how well is the seal still holding? Should we stop the machine? Should we replace it? Or can we wait maybe for the next standard shutdown? Those are cases where we really think we can have a huge step up from, experience-driven, highly specialized work by people who've been operating our plants for decades to a new level of better decision-making where we're hoping IoT and everything that comes with it, the power of the cloud, can really put us on a new operating model.
So a lot of it is inference as well, to use not just the actual sensor value, but to the combination of different values and what does this mean in the context of your plant. Is that correct?
there are different things coming together, right? There is, obviously the great technology. There's the power of these data algorithms, this, artificial intelligence or machine learning, whatever you call it. But also what's very important is, and that's at the heart of it, is our expert domain knowledge, which sits with our engineer, which sits with these people who've been operating, our factories for these many years. And we need, to go on the journey together with them and see how we can augment them to become even better at their job. So it's really a crossover. People, OT technology, as you call it, the IT and the cloud. How do we mix this to get a step ahead?
And OT means operation technology, yeah? So
yeah.
that we have to find the word.
The operation technology, that's good for everybody watching. But I think that makes a lot of sense too in terms of, you mentioned a key part, right, which is the people. I think that's one of the concerns that a lot of people have is, hey, are we just automating it all away? But it becomes more of an augmentation to the person in that sense, right?
Absolutely. It allows the people to make much better decisions. So before, maybe there was one person who could only make these decisions. Now, by having all this data available, we can make much faster decision, and not always the super specialist has to be present in a plant. And this is specifically the request that we receive on and on from those big plants, which are operated all around the world. They gather the data from everywhere, and then they can start to benchmark also between the different sites, and this allows them to make better decisions.
Do you experience that the same way, or?
Absolutely. I mean, this is why I think it's important for us to also have formats like this and explain this, right? We see every time that these projects can only be successful if, we have the right technology on the OT side, we have the IT and the cloud stuff ready, but we also have the people with us, and they understand that this is about helping them make their job better and not helping,
replacing them, right?
Them
not
redundant.
Replacing them.
And, getting the people on board, getting the people excited, getting our experts, really think this through and help everyone make a better job is key. And I mean, in the end, these experts will need to stay. We'll need to get to the next level even after the current set. We're so happy we have them. We're so, hopeful that they'll help us on this journey. And I think it's important for every one of us to understand this. This is not about, a chess computer thing where, the computer is better. It's about augmentation, right?
It's also about safety. You allow, in principle, to see into a cubicle or in a panel without opening it. And this is already a huge safety feature. And these kind of things are sometimes even a bit underestimated. What kind of work quality you can provide through IoT.
I can imagine that. Would you say that's one of the biggest challenges that you're facing? So it's more of, partially technology, but also the mentality and how to integrate this into a company, especially if it's a larger institution, in terms of acceptance and different things like that. Would you agree with that that's one of the bigger challenges? Or what would you say is the biggest challenge that you're facing in that regard?
I think one of the challenges could be that, and we did this also in our company, we started to automate processes. So instead of having 5 people doing manual processes, we automated it through the different computer systems. And this allowed us to give much more attractive jobs to those people. And it took us quite some time, also discussions with the Workers' Council. But we got there because we really believe it's a huge opportunity. Where we more struggle is really data quality. I think the discipline on data quality is for us currently the biggest struggle. I don't know what is your experience. But
do you experience a similar struggle in that sense?
No, for sure, it's both things, right? But I think for us, we're obviously a typical user of technology. We're not a builder of technology.
Correct,
like Schneider is. And still, we need to understand things in a lot more detail than we had to before, right? We were, as automation experts, we were good in defining for you, how we want our OT to stack to look like. Now, when we're combining things, and as I said, when we're trying to explore a lot more, maybe just possibilities or option spaces out there, we really need to understand what's going on, right? That's a huge step for us. And here, we need to invest into people, bring out, higher skill levels, more creativity, more sense of entrepreneurship and ownership of different topics and opportunities. And then for sure, data topic is a challenge. Now, we're, I think, lucky in a way that our overall systems are not as complex as some of your clients, where I think you have far larger overall operations. We're more specific items, but very often across the world. So that case is something. But for sure, we're experiencing that as well.
Because I think the data topic is an important one, especially on the security side of things and the governance question. So, with that looking forward, the future of IoT, where do you see this journey going? Maybe briefly in a sentence or two, where do you see this going? Like, what are the next steps?
That's a very wide question.
It is a very wide question with many answers.
It will be also driven very much, how much does a sensor cost, how much will be the cost for storage and all these cloud solutions. I think the technology today is already that far that this is not a burden anymore. We will have 5G and these kind of things, which will be a huge leverage, specifically for industrial application. So I think it will become more intelligent and more predictive. Really, I think for me, it's really from preventive to predictive, if I can say it in one sentence.
I think that makes sense.
Absolutely,
and for you?
I think absolutely right. But then again, we're the user of technology, so our strategy, our vision is not so much about, what the technology does, what it helps us to do. And I think two things really at the center of a company like ours, a heavy industry player. I think one topic, and you addressed that, I think that's important for us, was something like health and safety, where we've done huge progress in the past, but we can in no way be confident that we've reached a level that's acceptable. I mean, people still die. People are still, being injured.
But it's a step in the right direction.
Yes, and we need technology to kind of, come to a situation where all of this stops, where we just, have a safe work environment for our many people. And the second thing is, and you see this also, being a big discussion, and we know we need to stand up to the challenges, everything with sustainability, with CO2 footprint and so on, where we know we need new solutions. And we cannot see how, we can achieve the targets we're setting ourselves and also that society is requiring from us without being more adventurous, more invested into a topic like IoT.
Perfect. Well, thank you. To wrap this up, I kind of want to jump into something we have over here. We love gadgets at Show Me Tech. So we talked a little bit about it while we were waiting. But out of this whole stack of gadgets here, I want you to choose one and in just one simple sentence say why you would choose that and why you want to take it home. I want to start with you, Philip.
Well, I'll have the drone.
You will have the drone? Yes,
so
absolutely. Absolutely.
The drone is exciting for us because it's actually a health and safety topic for my company. You might think, what does a drone have to do with cement plants? But actually...
Can I see it? Let's see the drone. Oh, very cool.
Yeah, so actually, today, lots of our workers need to go to lots of unsafe places in the plant. They need to climb into all kinds of chutes or chimneys, check our filters or, whether there are any cracks in our machinery and so on. And today, we're actually utilizing drones. Exactly, we're utilizing drones to get camera pictures, video pictures, and automate this. And I think it's a great health and safety topic. It's a great opportunity to show that, even a consumer electronic device like this in today's world can have an impact in heavy industries. Quite fascinating.
Perfect. Safety in that sense. What about you?
I would take the Moleskine. Huh?
Yes, excellent choice. Excellent choice. Excellent choice.
It's maybe I'm even the oldest one here in this round, but I can memorize.
Doesn't show.
You can memorize a lot by writing by yourself, and I struggle a little bit with the iPad. I don't feel so comfortable writing on the iPad.
It feels more real on paper, right?
But
it's
here,
something else
you have
to
the
it.
chance afterwards to scan in all these pages in a relatively, let's say, good way. It's not yet fully efficient. I would like it would be more efficient, but I think it's a good approach.
But it's going in the right direction.
Correct.
Cool.
It's between the conservative and the modern world. So.
Exactly. It's somewhere in between.
OT-IT integration.
Correct.
Barbara, Philip, thank you very much for coming out and sharing your insights today. It was a pleasure to have you here today. For those of you who want to hear more, Barbara will be speaking at Digital Festival 2019. Thank you for watching, and until next time on Show Me Tech.